Hello there, welcome back to the channel. It's Richie here from Dowie After Dark. Now, today I just kind of wanted to let everybody know what's been going on. So this week's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. So at the beginning of the week, I was pretty blessed to be voted in as team captain for Team England for the WTC tournaments coming up. So there's an event in Germany, the 27th and the 28th, where 29 nations are going to be clashing, and the privilege and the honour to be picked to lead Team England, which honestly means a lot. Like I'm really happy for everybody. Like, it's amazing that people voted for me, and thanks everybody that did. I'm very proud to be leading my nation into playing into an international event, and I'm really excited for that. Being the captain and also only playing dwarves as well, it feels like a real privilege to be able to play the army that I want to be able to play. It's really nice as well to be able to play an army that people considered was absolute trash tier, and now it's an army that a team captain is going to be taking forward and basically, hopefully, doing well in an international event. But unfortunately, like I said, this week's been a slight emotional roller coaster and slightly bittersweet as well. So some of you might have seen that I did post up that I wasn't going to be doing a video Friday, and that was because unfortunately on Monday, so the day after I got the England team captaincy, one of my pets, unfortunately, she had a seizure which caused her to hit her eye and unfortunately ruptured her eye. Now rushed her in for emergency surgery, and she was looking okay on the mend, was having to syringe feed her and give her water manually for the last few days, but unfortunately she had another seizure last night. Tried to feed her this morning, and unfortunately we had to have her put down. So that's why I haven't been that active in the chats and the comment section. I'm really sorry for that, but for any other pet owners, it's never a good day, unfortunately. We're all kind of taking it quite hard in the household. But hopefully I'll be back to my my perky dwarven nature soon. But there's definitely a lot of good to come this year. I'm just going to try and remember her, and I probably will get some tattoos for her as well. So that would be good. So that for me is probably one of the lowest points of this year so far. But other things have happened this week as well. So there's been some highs and lows as well with the hobby. So basically, when the FAQ dropped, I initially jumped on the train thinking that the low linear obstacles that were created by sappers and earthen ramparts worked at stopping stomps and impact hits. And I think raw, you can kind of both argue it either way. I feel that rules as intended, they are meant to stop them, but I think people are saying because of the base-to-base contact part of the rule that it doesn't work. It'd be interesting to see if that does get errated in the future. I'm hoping for our dwarves brothers and sisters that it does get FAQ'd and errated, just so that we have a really nice defense against those dragons. And also all of the armies that can cast earthen ramparts, that means that everybody has a nice defense into those dragons and would completely shake up the meta. I understand that a lot of people potentially don't want that to happen, but I think it would be quite a nice little fun change and would just kind of like completely change up even your games at home. Like, I think if you've got one friend who's absolutely smashing up your local gaming scene with dragons, this will be a massive change, and it will potentially make them have to rethink their list as well. Now, the other changes have been really, really good for us. Like, dwarves didn't really get hit with any massive changes. There was some kind of tidies up to the Slayer rules, which I think everyone was kind of playing anyway. So like the impact hit on the Doomseekers, and then if you're Giant Slayers with the Standard Bearers, I think everyone was pretty much doing that anyway. Now, something that has been a massive change for us, which I think is really good, is that Wood Elves no longer have access to pillar spam. So if you've been playing into Wood Elves and they've been absolutely wrecking your face, then that is hopefully going to change. They're no longer going to be able to throw 4 or 5 pillars at you. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. I mean, the most that you're probably ever going to see now is like 2 or 3. So that is a lot easier for us to be able to handle. So I think that that's a really, really good change for us. Like, especially for those more static armies, like if you're wanting to sit in a corner and be defensive, then that is definitely a positive change. Another couple of changes that really, really impact us are with cannons. So on the crunch roll now, basically if you hit a wood or a high linear obstacle, then the ball just stops. Now, basically what this means is the crunch is the bounce part of the cannonball. So you can still hit stuff that's on hills or behind objects, but you just have to either get it with a direct hit or just try to land on it and then skim through it, which is going to make stuff a lot harder to be sniped. So your anvil might be a bit safer if you put them on hills. In practical terms on the tabletop, this basically means if you've got an anvil on a hill and you have units in front of them, if you can get the first turn and push your units forward, which I know for dwarves is quite difficult, but say if you're using gyrocopters for this, for instance, you push forward over 11 inches so that the cannons do not have line of sight to a point that is under 10 inches in front of the anvil. That means that the cannonball will never be able to reach the anvil, as it would have to bounce to get onto the hill, and as soon as it touches the hill, then it stops. This means that we now have a little bit of defense against those Empire great cannons, which, as from personal experience, know that they absolutely shred our toughness 10 anvils. Another big change that impacts us quite a bit is the fact that enchantments and hexes have now been changed, so the ranged self ones can no longer affect more than one unit. So this has really nerfed those spells that would just accumulate and accumulate around us, maybe debuffing our leadership or adding -1s to hit onto a unit, so suddenly our units aren't hitting them very well, or they're just debuffing our bravery by absolutely loads, and then the vampires are screaming at us. Now this has been changed so that they can only ever be affected once. Now this is a really good change for us, and I feel that this is really going to help the dwarves push forward, and it's going to help everyone in their games as well. This is a massive change, and I feel a lot of people have kind of been underlooking this, and I think that's going to be a big change going forward. Now, another change which I think kind of impacts us quite a bit is just the clarification of champions in challenges, the fact you do get overkill against them. So this was kind of like a little bit of hidden tech that people were kind of doing at the top level to try and mitigate some of the overkill, say from a Killy King or even from dragons. Now that's been cleared up, and now the overkill does count, which is good for us and also bad for us as well, but I think it's just really nice it's been cleared up. So those are kind of like the biggest main takeaways from this FAQ, basically for the dwarf army anyway. So not much of the other stuff really impacts us. I do hope that going forward that there is an errata onto the FAQ ruling about the low linear obstacles, because it would be absolutely amazing if the sappers could get the rule to be able to stop the impact hits and stomps. That would honestly shoot up X-Force running all of the handgunners, potentially putting Thorgrim in there as well so the unit's unbreakable, and that would really shoot up the win rates for the dwarves and would make them really scary when playing into dragons. Now a dragon in a challenge, say against a king that's maybe -1 to hit and then like a really high toughness, it's going to really struggle to do any wounds. And then not being able to do stomps as well is really good. Unfortunately, I do understand that that probably makes some of the armies that rely on impacts hits slightly useless into that army, but I suppose every army does need something that's a hard counter to it. Hopefully that does change in the future. I'd really like to see that in an errata. And then today at the Las Vegas Open, we had loads of reveals. So I got up super early so I could watch these, and we've had the knife ears announced. Now, don't get me wrong, I do hate a knife ear, but it's really nice to see them hopefully coming out soon. I think they might be coming out either next month or potentially the month afterwards. We can hope that it's next month so we can start reenacting the War of the Beard. Now, some of the new models are absolutely stunning. Don't get me wrong, I do hate playing against them, but I do really like the models. Now, it's interesting to see from this that it definitely looks like there's going to be a White Lion army and a Sea Guard army, and I don't think that they've shown off all of the model releases yet, because I think we should be getting a Mireworm, because that is something that the Sea Guard have had in the past, which then makes me think that we might also be getting some more stuff for the White Lions as well. So hopefully we can get some of those juicy White Lion cavalry that we can kill with our Dwarven axes and our Drake guns. We've also been shown the Beastman Wizard as well, so hopefully we can get a little bit of a range refresh from them, maybe some new heroes, potentially another unit, as some of the armies have been getting new units as well. So that would be quite nice to see, as I do think that some of the Beastman army is a little bit dated. So it'd be nice to see if we can get some new stuff going forward in that as well. So that will be quite nice to see. They've also potentially leaked the fact that Cathay might be dropping eventually. Now, I know we've discussed this before, that Cathay was on the horizon. Now, I didn't think they would be dropping anytime soon, but the fact that they've leaked it means it might actually be a lot sooner than we thought it was going to be. And that is something to be really excited about. I don't know if you've played on Warhammer Total War, but if you have, but they've got some really unique unit choices and really unique characters as well. Whether it be flying balloons that shoot you from afar, or those massive cannonades pulled by cows, or even the little balloons, which are quite reminiscent of the Highlands miniatures, gyrocopters actually. So it'd be interesting to see if we can get some full aerial battles going with gyrocopter spam versus those as well. So that would be really interesting going forward, because it's always nice to play against new armies, and that should be really fun as well. So basically a little update for the channel. I am getting my X-Force army ready for the Welsh Open, which is going to be in a couple of weekends. I have almost finished. I am one scout gyrocopter away from finishing that list, and hopefully it will be good on the tabletop. I have had loads of practice games, so hopefully it goes okay. I will be posting up the list and a video about that very soon. And I didn't really want to post the list until I'd practiced it and got a list that I was happy with. I didn't want people going away using the list and then it not be a very good one. It's a very hard way to play the dwarves. It's a very different way to play the dwarves. Unfortunately, you've almost got to play it a little bit like a knife here, which I don't know what that does to my honor, but if we can settle some grudges, then that's always going to be good. I'm super excited to get it on the tabletop, as I actually haven't played it in person yet. And I've just been having loads of practice games on Warhol, but hopefully it'll be on the tabletop really soon. Well, I mean, it needs to be because I've got a tournament with it in a couple of weeks, so hopefully. Unfortunately, this week I've been really preoccupied with my poorly pet, and she had taken up most of my free time, so I hadn't managed to do any filming this week. So that has pushed back the start date of my beginner's guide, which I'm going to be starting with the movement phase. So it's going to be split up a load of different videos where I'm going to be explaining all of the basics and also up into some of the hidden tech as well. I've got some really cool stuff that I want to show off as well. So basically Mini Magtray, which is a company from here in the UK, but they do ship internationally, have created movement trays for drilled, which are basically magnetic and they come out of different shapes. You kind of go into a unit like Tetris, and then as you expand outwards, you can move them around and it really smoothly creates a transition. And they make the whole drill transition much smoother and really easy to use on the tabletop as well. So I'll be explaining how to use them and just kind of showing them off because I think they're really cool. I was quite blessed that I was sent these by Mini Magtray for me to try out an event, and just I kind of want to put them in a video because I think they'll really help out anyone that's using drilled, because sometimes it's potentially not too clear what you're doing when you're using drilled. So if you can just be really clear with it when you're explaining to your opponents, and also if you've got a full understanding of it, which I will run you through as well, then it will really smooth up everyone who's using that special rule as well. So that will be good. Over the next couple of days, I'm also going to be filming a how to play the Royal Clans list as well. So that is the list that I've been running at tournaments and I've done really well with. I think I've got 3 GT wins with it so far, and a couple of podiums with it as well. I do appreciate the fact that a few people have picked this list up. So Tom Gould from over at the Old World show, he's picked up this list and has made a couple of alterations, and Runeforged YouTube channel as well. So that's a couple of other YouTubers that are using a very similar list. I know a few of you have picked it up at home to try and smash those GTs or to have some better games into those dragons at home. Now I'm going to do a video talking about the best deployments for it, what to do with it, and when to yeet and when to stay back, how to create a defensive bunker with it as well, and just kind of working out the best times to push forward, and also what units in what scenarios are going to be the best units to buff from the anvil, and also to try and keep your anvil out of dispel range. So those are some of the things that I want to talk about, and also the different strategies into different armies, because into some armies you're going to have to absolutely full send forward, and then other armies you're going to have to sit back, wait for the tide to hit you and try and do as much damage as possible. Now, I understand that the list is a little bit techie, and also it's a very small list. There's only basically 2 units and then some hero support with the cart and a grudge thrower. So I just want to explain how I play it. So basically everyone at home that's playing that list can pick it up without too much trial and error. I had to play hundreds of games of trial and error and basically get an absolutely smash to work out how to play this. So if I can stop you from having that hassle, then hopefully that will help. And then once I've done that, I'm going to start on the beginner series and hopefully be able to help all of those people who've just picked up the Old World, and also some of the Longbeard veterans as well, who potentially have forgotten some of the more simple rules, as we all do it. I basically was at an event a couple of weeks ago and I completely forgot that you don't pivot to the center of a unit when you give ground. I just was like, I'm pretty sure you do, but yeah, you forget stuff as the edition goes on anyway. So hopefully a little refresher course for everyone will be good. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you so much for my channel members. It really means a lot that you're supporting me. I'm really sorry that I couldn't really get any content out this week, but it's been a pretty bad week in my household, and but yeah, it's been a pretty hard week. But hopefully that will get better going forward. So thank you all very much, and I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.
In the night of stone we march so bold, with our sharp and heart so cold. Through halls of old, our vengeance sparks in shadows dark. It's dawn we after dark. For years untold, and ledgers kept where blood runs cold. In caverns deep, the drums they roar will settle scores in Darwy lore. The grudge is held for years untold, in letters kept where blood runs cold. In caverns deep, the drums they roar will settle scores. Under mountains, watchful gaze will end the feuds of ancient days. With iron will and spirit stark, will bring the light in Dawi after dark. Golden gems shall guide our fight through endless tunnels lost tonight. The hammer falls, the anvil sings, in Dawi's name our battle rings. From molten forges fuming red, our enemies shall quake with dread. In caverns grim our legends start, we strike as one in Dawi after dark. Under mountains watchful gaze will end the feuds of ancient days. With iron will and spirit stark, will bring the light in Dawi after dark. Under mountains, watchful gaze will end the feuds of ancient days. With iron will